All right, we are live. Welcome to OnSet. I am Daniel Norton here in beautiful New York City with Seth on the Mighty Mix and the always elegant Marissa. And the huge crowd of people from New York City. Woohoo! All right, so thanks for coming back. We are kind of on a sporadic schedule, but if you just keep checking out Adorama events, did I point to the right thing? You can keep up with, we'll edit that in post. You can keep up with when the different events are. Believe my next event is the first or maybe the second Thursday in June as of right now. And I know Gavin goes live as well here. In any case, we are talking portraits today. We're talking portrait modifiers because why not, right? This is what we like to do. We like to photograph people. We want to see what might be ideal for us depending on the type of look that we're going for, because what is ideal? Ideal matters what you're trying to get. If you're looking for a hard, punchy, mysterious light, that's not the same modifier as if you're looking for a big, flat, gentle light. So we're going to talk about why we might use different light modifiers and what kind of effect they'll give us. And of course, throughout the process, we'll make some photos of Marissa. It's very blue in here today, right? If you have any questions, please do ask.
You happy now?
No, I'm fine. I just realized it was very blue.
Complain some more, please.
If you have any questions, please do ask. I will do my best to answer them. Let's see. So, a camera, everybody always asks. That's a Nikon Z6ii. We're using Profoto strobes, and I'll talk about the modifiers as we go. So let's just start, and we'll see where we go from here. I guess I'm going to start with the easy one. No, yeah, we'll start with the easy one. So the most common modifier that somebody's going to want to use for a portrait is some kind of a softbox. Softboxes have become the thing now. When I was a kid, like softboxes were expensive and there was something, you get umbrellas with your lights. Now they give you softboxes. So people are so used to using them and they work really well. But one question I often get is, why would I use, let's say, a rectangle versus an octagon versus whatever? So let's start with an octagon softbox and let's kind of walk through why we might use one and how it's going to be best for portraits as it would be. So again, this is a Profoto B10x Plus. I'll eventually know, and then by the time I know which one it is, they will get new ones. And this is a Profoto OCF 3-foot Octa. So the octagon, it's basically a more rounded shape. Some people will tell you, and these people might be in the chat right now, so I won't be snarky about it, that like the catch light is all important, right? So some people do choose to use a round-ish modifier because they feel like it creates more natural catch light. If you use one that's more of a rectangle, maybe that looks more like a window. This is one theory and one way of thinking. It's not why I choose them. I think more about how the light falls on the subject and how much of it we can bring back around and use for fill, trying to get the most out of our light as it would be, right? So when you're using an octagon style softbox, because it's equally wide as it is tall, we can basically use it to manipulate by pointing it in different directions to get more or less light in front of our subject, which can then be used as fill with a reflector. So this is why I generally go this way. If you want to cut the light more, that's when I generally go with more of a rectangle because that's going to allow easier use of that. So let's start with the octagon. This is not how you should put a softbox on a light. I do that every time and I say the same thing. Marissa knows how to put a softbox on.
While he's doing that, you got 120 people in this chat, but only 37 likes. They do not like you, Daniel.
All right. If you like, immediately, I will have Marissa tell a joke. Seth hates that. So it's good for two reasons.
I don't hate.
And just know that Marissa's jokes are always inappropriate. So, all right. She doesn't realize they're inappropriate, I guess, but they are.
I'll have you know. I was 2018 punch champion.
Yes. Marissa is the pun champion of 2018.
That's true.
All right.
Unfortunately, very true.
All right. So again, octagon box, 3 foot. When we're dealing with the softbox, we generally want to choose the size based on how much of our subject we're really going to cover. That's a good way to look at it, because you want to ideally place your box about as far away as the long end, right? So I'm going to put this about 3 feet away from her. And that means that I've got coverage down to, let's say, her waist, right? Pretty easy. You want to raise your box up so that you are above eye level, tilt it down, and we're basically good to go. This is a pretty standard setup for this kind of softbox. And if you are new to lighting, or not, apparently, when I look about, you'll point the light directly at the subject. But if you are what I like to call advanced, you will know that you don't want to do that, right? You could point it directly at her, but what's happening here? We only have a little bit of light going past, and then we have light going this way. But if we take our light and we swing it this way, right? What's happening is the light's coming out, still hitting her totally, still hitting the wall, right? But look at all this light over here we can work with. So much light for no extra charge. All right, so I am tethered into capture one, and we're gonna take a shot. Should I leave the top of her head in the shot? I think I will. It's always a decision to make here. All right, so I am the first thing we wanna do is we want to figure out what our exposure needs to be in order to eliminate the light in the space. This is just a general thing that we do every time, AKA the black frame. And what we want to do is set our shutter speed at the maximum shutter speed that synchronizes with the flash normally. You can do high speed sync, I know, but that's just not something we're going to discuss right now. You want to set your ISO at the lowest in its normal range. So this is like your starting point. Then when we look at our frame, we want it to be completely dark. Now, I've been here a bunch of times, and I know somewhere around f8 is the right place to be, and that's where I'm going to start. If you weren't sure, being a mirrorless camera like this, I could just look. And you know, if the demon's dark, it's dark, right? Yeah, so, oh yeah. Just so people can see what a dark frame looks like. Beautiful. I know this is nice, right? You like that? Look at how dark it is. All right, so we'll take a shot. And what we should get, hopefully, after I was just being snarky, is a dark frame. So from here, we want to just check it. And we want to make sure that we've got some room to move. So I generally bring the exposure up until I start to see skin tone, which is about there, and we're close to 3 stops underexposed. So what does that mean? That's basically at the baseline of our shadows. If we get in there and start pulling stuff back, like say in post, or we want to do any manipulation, we can go up to 3 stops without getting this light in our shot. Now here, the light is beautiful because Seth spent months handcrafting it. But generally, we're shooting in places we don't want to see the light, right? So I don't want any of this light to affect my shot.
I thought it was too blue. No?
It was too blue earlier. That's also true. Yes, you caught that, right? Did I don't know if I said that live though. See, they wouldn't have known live that I was.
Blue enough? Is that blue? Blue enough? No. You want more? I can do more blue.
So blue. Well, blue is the Adorama color. Anyways, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to turn my flash on. We're going to use TTL because I have it, and why not? So what TTL does, it means through the lens metering. It's going to use the meter in the camera to establish our exposure. If we don't like the exposure, we will adjust. But let's just start here. And top of reverse's head is in the shot. There it is. You can just barely see it. But it's there. Let's see it. Look at it. Look at it.
Look at it in all its glory.
Feel the glory.
Feel the glory of Scout.
All right. And Marissa's looking quite pale, and she's quite pale, so that's pretty good. All right, so we have an exposure, right? Nice and soft, even. Now, we do have some shadow on this side of our face, and again, with all my talk about letting the light go past so we can bounce back, this is where this comes in, right? So, first of all, you may not even need to, depending on what you're going for, but if we want kind of a flat light, which is generally what you're gonna want with a box like this, that's why you're choosing it, we will get out one of these Brooklyn reflectors. This is the original Brooklyn reflector, kind of like this original rays. Seth has a new one that he calls the original one, but this is the original. No, white skin. All right, I'll use silver. Seth wants me to use silver.
I don't. If you want it, I'm cutting out.
But let me know what silver or white. It's white? Okay, yeah. Silver.
The crowd goes
okay, doesn't
wild.
matter. I'm only pretending like I care what you think so that people online will think. I don't really care. I'm just kidding. I do care a lot. I often, go home and think about it. Okay. So this is the light here, right? And the light is going to come this way. We're going to bounce off our Brooklyn reflector back into the shadow side of our face. Easy as that. All right, there we go. So if you want a big open smiley light, you know, this is good for that, right? This is the raw light. That's Marissa happy. And there we go, right? Even big light we can fill in. Who is this good for? What is this ideal for? A single person, I mean, not relationship status wise, but single individual that we want nice flat lighting. Somebody that we want to cover up blemishes, wrinkles. We want to make the skin as clean and perfect as possible without using all kinds of, you know, manipulation in post or filters on the thing. This is a really clean light, right? It's very gentle and it's going to cover up any, you know, imperfections. Although of course Marissa has no imperfections, as we all know. But that's basically where we're at, right? We can basically create a nice, even soft light on one person. Now, you could use this for multiple people, but being able to bounce the light back in is going to be a little bit trickier because even at 3 foot, we still have to deal with multiple figures, right? So if we're lighting multiple people and we want a bigger, softer light, we probably want a larger source. That's in the source being our modifier, right? That makes sense? Any questions, thoughts, concerns? Nope, no, so far nobody's concerned. Good.
Riveting stuff. Riveting.
I've only taken 2 pictures and they're both properly exposed. We are on a roll. Probably jinxed myself there.
Are you using the new Capture One Studio upgrade?
Am I using the new Capture One Studio upgrade? I am not, because as Seth knows,
He doesn't update anything.
I never update anything. When it stops working is when I update it. And so far it works. I have not updated my Capture One. I probably should though. At some point I'll need to. So I am using Capture One. For people who may not know, Capture One is, well, software used to capture and some photo editing. It's my recommendation if you're shooting and it's at all possible to shoot tethered. Tethered meaning the camera is connected directly to the computer. Not just because I'm doing a live stream and trying to show everybody, but when you are on set working with somebody, it's nice to be able to see it on an actual computer. I find it to be much better. If you've ever been on a shoot and you took a picture and you looked at the back of your screen, you thought it looked really good and you showed the person and they were like, this is amazing. And you're like, this is amazing. And then you got to your computer and you're like, oh, that's why you want to shoot tether.
Also, on the back of your camera, it's a JPEG,
Right.
not a RAW file. So keep that in mind as well.
That's true. All right, I'm just gonna go for it because it's my favorite, well, my favorite large light source. This is a silk. This is actually a half silk. Oh, I just went through puberty. I'm gonna show you because oftentimes Seth said I don't show to the camera. I don't know if you can see it or not. This is a half silk. Can you see the, yeah, you can see it, right? So what makes a silk, a China silk work, I should say, is, so let me talk about diffusion for a second. We're gonna take a sideways turn. I'm gonna get everybody mad because I can't see Marissa. There's lots of ways to diffuse light, right? Diffusing the light is basically breaking it up and scattering it, right? That's what diffusion is. If you use, let's say, a full diffuser, like that's on the front of a lot of softboxes or a lot of some silks, what you'll get is it hits this thick white fabric and it's like punching through it and it tries to spread itself out. What a silk does is it actually has a checker pattern. And as the light hits the silk, it actually grabs onto the strands and sends itself in different directions. And you can actually get them in gel form that only go one way, and you can actually really manipulate how the light falls. This happens to be a China silk, which means it goes both ways, so it's even, but this creates a really nice diffused light without eating so much of the light. That's why China silk is really nice. It's also why it's generally more expensive. But this is a half China silk.
What's up, Gavin?
Gavin Hoey?
What's up, man?
Gavin Hoey.
No.
All the way over there in the UK.
Oh, Gavin Hoey. All right. So this is not where you want to position this, because I won't be able to see her. So again, if you were going to shoot a group, I mean, I'm not, but if you were, or you just wanted a nice flat light, using something like this, and I am going to put a sandbag on it, it would be nice because, again, it's large, and a large source is going to basically be softer, and we can back it up further so that we don't have to worry about shadow. So remember that when you put something in front of your light source, that thing basically becomes your light source, okay? So if I put my light back here and my light's only this big, but I put it back, I hit this, it becomes 4 feet. Like that's what we're doing here. So I'm gonna take this light, I'm gonna put it behind me. It's always good to work in a small space. So I could use it really flat like this. I'm trying to decide if I want to be lazy or not, because normally I wouldn't use it flat, but at this point I'm kind of tired. It's the end of the day. All right, I'll do it.
Come on.
All right, Marissa says I should do it right. So what we can do with this, by the way, the Chimera one, like I'm using, the frame locks right into a knuckle on the C-stand, so we can basically use it, you know, like this. So in order to turn it, I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take it off the C-stand. I put it all in funny. I want to tilt it this way, so I need the thing to go this way.
Oh, you got it. Hold on.
Yeah.
If you loosen this and then hold this part.
Yeah, got it. This part?
Yeah.
This might be a two-person endeavor. Oops.
May I help?
I want to go this way. I can't. I gotta spin it. Oh, watch yourself. I think I gotta spin it that way. I put it on backwards, basically. I need to be able to twist it, and I can't because the knuckle's in the way. This is fun. Look at us go. What I'm gonna do is, actually I probably shouldn't use the arm, because the arm is just kind of in the way. So I'm gonna take the arm off, guys. Give me 1 second to do this. I put it on the arm because I was too lazy to take the arm off. And now I have created a weird situation, which is often what happens here.
You want to take it out, right?
Yep.
Oh, don't show.
Yeah, sorry. We often go without a net here.
What do you want to go straight?
Yeah, I want to be able to tilt it this way, so I gotta.
I want to go like that. Like into
I
that.
want to be able to go like that, yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep, exactly.
So you gotta put it in how you want.
Yep. All right, I'm gonna put this in. I can spin it that way, right? Yep.
Yeah. Spin it however you want.
Yeah, I was gonna go like this. That'll make my life easier. It doesn't have to be in the middle. All right, so I'm just gonna slide this into the knuckle.
You want to A-clamp the other
This is riveting. Yeah, you can A-clamp it if you want, sure. Thank you. All right, that way we can manipulate this thing. I want to give it a little bit of a tilt. I actually want
This is
to.
what happens when Daniel's more concerned with TikTok than getting set up for you guys. I apologize on behalf of Daniel Norton Incorporated.
Okay. In the end, it's actually not going to even be that tilted for doing it this way. That's okay. This is why I didn't want to do it, because I didn't think like it was going to make that much of a difference. It's backwards, basically. I need to go the other way.
You need to turn those seats around.
Yeah, exactly. But I got to. Thank you. All right, watch your head, Marissa. All right, sorry, guys. I built this thing backwards. I knew I did. All right, here we go.
Important thing is that you know.
Gotta
Yeah,
fix
I know. I know. That's why I was like, am I being too lazy? So what we're going to do is we're going to tilt it a bit. So I just got to tighten it once we get it there. So we got to lower it down. Grab that for me, Seth. Just hold it out so I can lower it. Sorry, guys. I know we're live and all that, but all right, don't put it down at an angle, and I'm going to tighten it. There we go. That should hold, right?
Well, you got to tighten that knuckle. It's
This one. Yeah. There you go. Thank you. Okay.
Whoa,
Oh.
hey, whoa,
Oops.
hey. Do that to your
How's
own
that?
stance.
Is it holding?
Sure.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
We got it. Where was I? Okay. Zoom, boom, 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 boom. We'll just cut all that part out in post. It'll be easy. It's like we did this from scratch. All right, so we have our angle here. This is going to create a nice flat light on Marissa with a little bit of contrast. We just did this earlier, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We were shooting earlier, and yeah. All right.
There is no fixing Daniel in post. This is what I get. This is what I got. This is what we're dealing with.
It's true. You're stuck with me, at least for the next half an hour or so. All right. Let me just make sure this is turned on before I put it up in the air. All right, back to our regular scheduled program. Okay, so this is my B group. Again, I'm going to take this light, and I'm just going to keep my hand on it for a second. I'm going to come over here, And I'm going to take my A and return it off. That way we just fire the one light. There we go. All right, again, I'm in TTL. Somehow Marissa got taller. Yeah, I will. B, boop. All right, there we go. All right, here we go. Enough of this top of the head junk. We've now proven that Marissa has a top of her head. We're done with that. All right, here we go. All right, there we go. All right. Oh.
Daniel, it is so soft and wow.
I'm glad that worked because after all that, it would have been a real bit of a bummer, right? You were all looking going, this better be good. No, so you can see here how this creates almost like a beauty light, but it's not punchy like a beauty dish, right? It's soft, so it's, again, it's forgiving like the other light, but we still have cheekbones and stuff, right? Make sense? And here, we can take a larger group. Like we can see that somebody standing next to Marissa, it would also be fine because it's got a large swath of light. Here, if we want to fill in, we could do the same thing. Well, I'm selling these Brooklyn reflectors today. Yeah. I can tell you, well, I'll meet me out back. I'll show you where we can get some of this. All right. Actually, there's no back, really. I mean, not really. I use silver this time to give us a little bit more punch because now we have a bit more of a beauty look, right? So here, we're creating something that's got a big swath of light. And again, if we look, if you're into those catch lights, we've got this very natural looking big vibe going on. And again, this is all the light created by this light here, because if I shoot without the flash, you know, we get that. So just keep that in mind.
What's the lens again?
This is a 24 to 120 f4 Nikon lens. Seth recommended it to me, and I haven't taken it off my camera since.
Told you.
Yeah, it's a great lens. I find that I rarely shoot. Yes.
Oh, sorry. Can you show us the other shots from?
Oh, you want to see it again?
No, just comparison. The octagon.
Oh, yes, of course. Look at that.
The
It's my
request
ringer
is,
in the audience.
would
Would you like to see it with the reflector? So it's equal, yeah, apples to apples. All right. Boy, you're really putting a lot of pressure on me here. All right. So here, again, both of them are tremendously soft, tremendously gentle on the skin. The octagon's a bit punchier, right? Even it's got a little more punch to it. Why is that? Because it's less diffuse. It is smaller as well, which makes it a little bit hard, but it's also less diffuse. The reason why I say it's less diffuse is because if we look at her skin, this is a good question. If you look at her forehead, and then you look at her chin, think about the value of that in contrast. They are both absolutely flat. That is your specularity, that is your diffusion. If we look at her forehead here, and then the other side over here, like where we're filling in over here with the fill, we can see that this is brighter, right? Because, even though exposure-wise it's the same, because it's more contrasty, we're seeing the shine from her forehead, which gives us a bit more shape. So it has a little more of a punchy feel to it. That comes down to the silk, the way the silk throws the light. Silks have this really creamy, what I call creamy. Whenever I say creamy, people are like, what do you mean by that? The picture on the right is what I mean. That is a creamy light. And you get that with China silk. Now, some good softboxes, you can get China silk diffusers. So if you like that look and you want to use a softbox, you could do that. All right, good.
Put the link for the lens in the chat since 3 of you were asking.
Yeah, it's a nice lens. All right, that's 2. Now, the third modifier that I want to talk about, we're going to go a different direction. This is my favorite. Did I say favorite already? This really is my favorite.
Hang on a second. So the Octa he was using has an inner baffle and the outer diffusion. So
That's correct.
That's 2, but the inner baffle isn't like a double diffusion. It's to make the outer baffle hit even.
That's correct. Thank you, Seth. So there was a question about the way the softbox works. Yeah, when you have 2 levels of diffusion in your softbox, the reason for that is generally because the first one is to actually get better even distribution across the front. Because remember how I talked about punching through the front? So actually in this particular Chimera box, we have, again, 2, just like the Profoto, but these are just regular standard diffusion. These are not China silk. They're just regular. So when it hits that first one, boof, right? It's like trying to punch its way through, but it spreads out, and then when it hits the second one, it's more even. Same thing with that Octa. So this is rectangular shaped. It's also a little smaller, right? This is a good portrait size for a single person, I think, because you have more control, right? And this is silver lined, which is just like the Octagon. These I like for individual portraits where we want to show a little more shape and a little more shadow, right? This is going to let us really kind of come in and shape it because we have the edges to play with. So let's use this guy. I'm going to leave this here temporarily. Ah, you're on to me. I just don't feel like taking it down. All right. So for those watching at home or those watching here, I'm going to turn off the light that is going through the silk. Okay? Just in case there's a confusion about that. I'm gonna try to run the modeling light on the light I'm using. That way it's obvious. Because I know sometimes if people step away for a second, they might not see what's going on. Now, what we can see here, and a long time ago, when I used to use lights that got really hot, I threw out the little rear baffle thing that's in the back here. So a little bit of light's gonna creep out of the back of the softbox. And somebody inevitably asks about it. So this softbox actually comes with a little thing that goes around the back. If you were in a very small space, this would make a difference, right? If you don't put it on there. But in here, it's not gonna affect the shot. So here, we can use our box to give more shape to Marissa, right? You could do something like maybe like a Renaissance painter might do.
Get out, just leave, walk. Get out of my event space, just walk.
That's it, you're out.
You kids.
All right. All right. Okay, so a little more of her head in there, Sean. All right. All right, so we have Marissa. We're gonna create a little bit more of a dramatic shot. Again, this box is only 22 inches, so I wanna put it closer to you. You wanna generally have it in close enough that you utilize the entire shape of the box. And we're gonna have her look towards me. This is not gonna be a Renaissance painter shot. Right, but it is going to be a lot more contrasty.
You know how much I hate you.
I know. I'm removing the serial numbers, as I say. So you see here, now we have a more dramatic fall off. There's a few things going on here. One is that because the box itself doesn't go out as far, we don't have as much light just wrapping around, as they would say. But also because it's closer, we have more dramatic fall off because it's a smaller box, right? So if you want to get shape and form, you want to show some drama, this is a better option here. And here we might not use a fill card at all because we're trying to get the shadow, right? So why fill it in? But you still can. But here's where we're working with more drama. Now you can use the edges of the softbox to cut the light a bit. So for instance, if I wanted more shadow, I could spin the light away. And what's gonna happen is this edge is gonna dictate. It's not gonna be a dead cut, but it's gonna dictate where the light falls, and we're gonna get more shadow on the other side of her. But because I haven't moved the light, it's still gonna keep the same relative exposure. So you can see how I'm changing that shadow pattern by spinning the light. And it's just easier to do with this type of box because it's a rectangle, right? This would be harder to do with the Octagon because the Octagon would have to really spin super far, which might get all over the background. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right. Let's use just because we've been doing it, let's use a fill card. Again, I don't think I'd want to fill this. If I'm using this light, I generally don't fill it because I want the shadow. But if you wanted to fill it a little bit, I wouldn't recommend putting it right up next to her to get a maximum fill. Maybe you're going to put it further away, right? So we get a little bit less, but it still has to get, obviously you have to put it in the light. And we should just get a little bit here. Probably going to be too much. Yeah, that's too much. Even that's too much. I don't like it. I'm going home. No, see, but you can see how it still has the shape, which is nice. So if you wanted a flatter light and you wanted the shape, it has it, but really it's not what I'd want here. Instead, and this is how you get the big bucks, more lights. When you're charging, always charge more when you use more lights, as we know. So let's say that we like this. Let's make it even more dramatic. Also, when you're working with a subject, you can say something like, let's make this more dramatic, and then you don't actually do anything, you just touch the light. You go like this. Let's just make this more dramatic. All right, yeah, perfect. And then you just go back and shoot exactly the same. Charge extra for that, they'll never know. No, but we're gonna turn this light on. But this is gonna become our fill light now. This creamy light's gonna be our fill. So what we wanna do here is we want to make sure that it's not gonna be the same exposure because then it'll just be flat. So we're gonna come in here. We like that exposure, and so we're gonna switch to manual. Then I'm gonna turn my light here back on, and I'm gonna turn the power down. Couple stops, probably 3 stops is good. Why 3 stops? That's just what I like. That's a 1:6 ratio. No, is that 1:8? 1:8 ratio? Yeah, 1:8. I don't know.
Math.
No, it's still too much. Still too much, I think. Honestly. All right, let me hit the silk by itself so you guys can see what it looks like. Thanks, Seth. I was trying to get a perfect exposure in every frame, but oh wow, okay. Yeah, it's barely there, but it still felt like it was too much of the shadows. Let me bring this guy over. Okay. Okay. Let's just shoot with just, oh yeah, there you go. We're just gonna do a totally different pose, which is exactly what we want for comparison. No, that's good, I like it. No, do that, it actually look better. We're creating a new picture now. I've moved on, sorry guys.
I moved on.
All right, I'm turning off the fill light. And we're gonna get a new exposure using TTL on our key. Okay. All right, so that's hot. So I'm now, okay, so one thing we can do here, by the way, is if you are working with TTL, so let's talk about this for a second because I get a lot of questions about this. And you look at this and you go, that's overexposed. You can mess around with the TTL, but oftentimes if I'm shooting Tether and I can really tell, what I'll do is I'll just jump in here and go, how overexposed is that? And I'll just start bringing it down till it looks where I want it to look, like maybe there. And I'll look and I'll go, 0.57. Okay, so it's about half a stop overexposed, right? Now I switch to manual, and I turn it down half a stop. Then we take another shot. What's that? Just single light, yeah. All right, now we have this. So now we have this beautiful shadow on this side, but people hate shadows. People learning how to light hate shadows. The number of people who come to me and go, how do you make shadowless light? I cannot tell you. You don't. But anyways, let's fill in the shadow a little bit because people don't like shadows. So we're gonna take our A light, or our fill light from above, or the B light I should say, this guy. And we're going to turn it down to where it was. And we're going to do a shot with both lights now to fill in our shadow. There we go, that's not bad. Let me give it a little more juice. And again, this comes down to just eyeballing it. When you're doing a ratio like this, what you've got to do is, yeah, that's not bad. Cool. So we can see now we're getting some fill in the shadow, and you can put as much or little as you like. If you start adding a lot of fill light, it's small. If you start adding a lot of fill light, it will affect your key as well. So you might have to dial your key down. So like for instance, if I add a little bit more fill, I'll take my key, which is this light over here, and I'm gonna turn it down a smidge, so I don't start to blow out my, oops, sorry. There we go. So I don't blow out my, there we go. So now we have a nice ratio. So, and in the end, we've got detail, right? Beautiful, punchy light, but even, right? We have nice, even diffused light because we're double diffused and we're real close. But then I have this nice fill in the front that's making our shadow not so dark. So if you don't love dark shadows, yep.
Can you have her eye roll away from the softbox?
Oh yeah, yeah. Seth doesn't like that. Roll your eye away from the softbox.
It makes a big difference.
Yeah, I like the weird eye look.
I like dead eyes. So
I know you do.
Well, now she's got to,
I know. That's what Seth likes, and he's right.
You're
it does
sitting
look
here
better.
talking about catch lights to half this demo. I'm gonna,
He's not wrong.
Thank you.
It's actually nicer. All right.
It's actually nice.
You want to let me know? All right. Okay. All right. So there's Marissa smiling, and yeah, wow, we're flying. I'm going so fast today. I thought I was going to be slower because I was out of practice. Let's take 10. No, I'm just kidding. All right, any questions?
You took 10 to get the silk up.
I did. I did build the silk backwards. I apologize for that. Questions, thoughts, concerns? Online, inline, overline? Nothing.
Oh, in room.
In room. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just the one small question. Feeling like the silk might not be ideal for a person wearing glasses.
Oh, are you feeling that way? I feel a challenge.
It's actually quite the opposite.
Do I have a person with the glasses that would like to come up and be photographed? An attractive gentleman, possibly?
We're wearing face masks, possibly?
No, if you don't want to, it's fine. I don't want to make you do it. It's weird that every time this gentleman needs a photo, he comes to one of the demos. No.
He's like, my passport just expired, and
Right.
I needed a 1x1 square.
Okay, so just so we're good,
can you put this in resolution perfect for LinkedIn?
right? We're gonna start from scratch for you.
All right.
All right, so we're going back to TTL. I'm going to turn off. I forget which light is which. I think this one's over here is the A light. Yeah, that's A. I'm gonna turn this off, so we're just using the silk. You've got your glasses. Now, if you look straight at me, right, just like a driver's license picture, right, we will see that there is no reflection in the glasses, correct? Right. Now, why is that? But let me show you. Bring your chin up. Okay. The angle of incidence equals the angle of reflectance. So when you have something that's reflective, you need to make sure that when the light hits it, it doesn't bounce back into the lens, which is what's happening when this gentleman raises their chin and bounces back. That's the whole secret. There's 1,000 videos about all the complications of glasses. All you gotta do is make sure you don't. Now, yes, it could be that this is the shot we want, right? If the client's like, this is the shot we want, that could be problematic and there's other ways to deal with it. But generally, just don't put the light so it's reflecting back and you should be good. Good, well done. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right.
You come to enough demos, it's going to happen eventually, man.
Right, it happens.
It's your regular seat, too. You got season tickets over here.
Excuse me while I die over here. All right. Oh my God, okay. All right. Where were we? That was good, that filled in, I like that. All right, so let's move on to the next. I think I might want to do, should we do a beauty dish? Or should we just, you know what, let me use multiple lights. Let's build, oh we did, but let's build up a shot with multiple lights.
Done.
Thanks, everybody.
Because one of the more common things that you might do is to use the big octagon, right? Which I as much as I kind of was like, this light is good for this, and I moved on, it's probably the one, if I was just carrying one light modifier to do portraits, I'd probably carry the 3-foot Octa because it's so versatile on single person portraits. So let's use that. Now we've seen like some of the way we can manipulate the light. Let's bring the Octa back and let's tweak it out and get something a little bit more satisfying with that. I have no grid, but that's okay. Because, you know, nobody uses grids anymore. Everybody uses grids. Always use a grid. All right, I'm going to take this down for safety reasons. And plus, we have to kill some time.
Hey, buddy.
I get paid by...
Do you really want the Octa?
Yeah, I'm going to do the Octa. Yeah.
Gotta build suspense.
All right, I'm just going to do this to make it faster. And by the way, I should also point out that I love these frames, these ones from Chimera, but there's all kinds of different like ways you could do that, right? You could, that's a big one because it's 4 feet, but using like a pop-up style reflector that has a diffuser could also work for a single person. Same kind of thing to fill in, that'll also work. It just won't be China silk, obviously. Okay. All right, thank you, sir. All right, so we're gonna go back to our 3-foot Octa. Let's play with this. Let's play. Oh, let me show you how to put it on properly, because I always say that I don't do it right. So, there is actually a cartoon of me doing this. So the thing with putting a softbox on, you'll never do this, but this is the right way to do it. You should take your light and put it into the softbox on the ground. It's safer to do it this way, and less strain and less likely you're going to smash things.
Yeah, like
It actually looked really nice when I did that too. That actually made me look like really skilled as opposed to clumsy.
Also, half the time you're going to think it's on there and it's not.
Yeah.
Then it falls and then you wonder what happened because you didn't actually see it go in the light the right way.
Exactly. So this way you're picking the light up. If the modifier's not on there, it'll just be on the ground when you're done.
And if it's a 5-foot Octa, yeah, good luck.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I got the scar.
Right, that's how Marissa got this.
No, I'm kidding.
All right, so
Chosen one.
so like I said, when I'm shooting a single person, I generally like to put the box so I have lots of this surface area that we can use for bounce in the front. But we can create more drama by really stretching how we use it. It's basically doing the opposite. So if I come really back here, right, and I think about just this part of the light being in front of her, I can create more drama with this box. And it has the added advantage of now I'm getting more light across the background, right? If I put it really close to her, I'll get more drama here, but I'll probably see the edge of the box in the background. So it's all going to be how you want to, you got to kind of play it out. Season to taste, as they say. On the Food Network. Is it still the Food Network? Is that still a thing? Must be. All right. B, A. That was the one that was in the, yeah, okay, perfect. Let's do this. I'm still using TTL, by the way. TTL being through the lens metering, which I may or may not have already said.
Hey, Arthur, I just want to say what's up, man. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're good.
Boom. Okay, look at how much drama we can get from that. Remember how all the light that flew in front of her face? Now we're able to trim it back, and that's all because of the position of the light. And we're getting, did you move? After I spent years positioning that light exactly right?
What?
She did, didn't she? She moved on me. She moved, didn't she? Yep. Just take your face and go just a little bit this way. Right there.
I blinked. Oh, no, I didn't.
No, you didn't. I was trying to get the triangle and Marissa screwed up. Now Seth's going to know what I'm up to.
No, I'm fine.
You did move. All right, it's fine. All right, so anyways.
What triangle?
Under the eye.
No matter what you do, someone's gonna say it's not Rembrandt.
It's not Rembrandt.
No matter what you do.
It's not Rembrandt. Okay, so anyways. So we can use the octagon to create shape. And oftentimes if I'm going to do this, I will do exactly that, right? I'll get it where I want it with this really dramatic light. Then we'll manipulate the way it feels by having the subject move, right? This is always nice for, there we go, like that. And then she's very powerful. Boom, right. And we can then get it flat across her face again, right? Or we can go that, right, exactly.
This way?
Yep, and she's going to mostly be in shadow here. And here's where we might want to use a reflector, right? Well, that's her blinking.
Oh, she's deep in thought.
She's resting her eyes. So now we've got some mystery, right? She's like about to solve that mystery. And I need a volunteer. Anybody? Yep, run for it. Everybody, somebody hold this.
Right here?
You know, you've been watching for a while. I trust that you know where to put it. If you screw it up, it's not like anybody's gonna, be watching online and say, who's this guy? No, you're good. Just make sure it's bouncing back the light. No pressure. There you go. That was actually, wow, well done. Actually, let's see the silver side.
Silver?
Yeah. Yeah, and then, yeah, there you go, Marissa, this way. Right, good. See that instructions right there? Yeah, that's nice. Look, you got a little catch light. Look at that catch light. Well played, sir. Well played. Thank you. Yes. So we can use this to obviously we can see the clip in the back of our head and everything else, but we're talking about the light here. So we can use our octagon to create all kinds of different shots, right? We don't have to just do the original shot, because even though it might be, if I'm trying to create this shot here, which is going to be my new screensaver, this is the modifier I'd go for, right? I can very easily create, clumsy fingers. I can very easily create this shot, but this isn't necessarily the tool that I'd use for it, right? It can do it, but it's maybe not ideal, because here's the thing, in this space, the background's always going to be lit when I do this, right? But let's say I had a strip box, I might be able to pull off getting a similar look without getting so much light in the background. Do I have a strip box? I think I might. I don't have anything, I just use that stuff.
That has a grid.
And it has a grid.
You could also pull up the background. I mean, come on.
I could also pull off the background, but you know, not everybody has the giant studio like this. For people at home, this is like a massive space.
You don't have to do demos here. You know that, right? Like you could just stay at home.
I just want to talk. Listen, I'm excited to be here. Thanks, everyone. It's very comfortable and cozy.
Every time Dan's done with it live, it's like, oh, I keep forgetting how small it is in here. Oh.
Oh man, when I first moved to New York, I was hired to shoot this catalog, and I was like, I wanted to use this different lighting technique, and it was going to use a big Fresnel lens on a flash. I tested it all in my studio. It was perfect. I had the whole thing. Then we went to the rental studio, and it was like 5 times the size of my studio. I like took a shot, and it was like black. I was like, huh. So size does, you know, it matters what kind of space you're in. So you got to consider that. Then I was like, you know what? Let's use the windows. And we did. Never let them see you sweat. All right. All right, I'm gonna put this on the wrong way again. Do as I say, not as I do. With these flat front lights, it's not as big of a deal, but with the old lights, with the
Question.
exposed.
There's a question in the chat. Can a 4x3 be used to shape the light, or is it better to be used as a fill?
Okay, so a 4 foot by 3 foot, I'm assuming. If it's 4 meters by 3 meters, that'd be awesome. But I'm assuming 4 by 3 foot. I would probably use that more like a fill because it's so big, unless you're doing a full length shot, right? Generally speaking, with portraits, you're going to want, you'll find as the more you light, the smaller the modifiers you buy. Like when I first started lighting, I was all about the 5 foot and 7 foot octagons. Now I'm all about the 1 foot squares and whatever, because it really lets you shape the light and put it where you want. You can always fill, right? And with a big silk or with a reflector, but having something small where you can put the light exactly where you want is so important to really craft, you know, your imagination into the photos. All right, so this is now a strip. And with this, we should be able to keep most of the light off the background because it has a grid on it and it's also a strip, right? So I can kind of bring it around. Yeah, I don't think much of it's hitting the background. Let's take a look. Again, TTL, we'll see what it does. Right? Strip. Octa. Similar, right? Both 3 foot. But the strip, also because of the grid, is allowing us to get that background black, right? Because no light's hitting it. And remember, when no light hits the set, that's what we get, right?
So someone's asking, can they use a rectangular box as a strip because they don't have strips?
Okay, so they do make masks for some rectangular boxes to make them cut more like a strip. It's not exactly the same. You could also take cinefoil and put it in front. It's not exactly the same. So yeah, work with what you got, right? If you don't have a strip and you need to cut the light, put something in front of it. A foam core board will cut it. But the thing is, the strip box has the reflecting on the inside, and also it's just a different shape. The light will just feel different. So it's not exactly the same, but you can definitely manipulate the light. If you're shooting and all you have is a 2 foot by 3 foot softbox and you need to manipulate it, that's where things like these Brooklyn reflectors, and they make black ones as well. Those are $700 each. These are super useful. You can use them in all kinds of ways. I could have cut the light with the other box, right? Would it have been a pain? Would it have been hard to get exactly what I wanted? Yeah. Did this take 3 seconds if I wasn't talking the whole time? Yeah, right? That's why we have different modifiers. It's not that you need to have a million things, but when you're doing something specifically, that's when certain tools can help you.
And also, if you're going to block out part of a box, you're probably going to eat up power because you're wasting light at some point, right? A strip light has reflecting closer to where it's relieving the box on either side. If you block it off, it's reflecting, going past what you're blocking, then hitting the diffusion. So you might just be having to turn your power up a little more.
Exactly. It's going to eat light, just like you said. So let's get our expert back again with the reflector. It's too far away. My arms aren't that long. All right. Okay, now, the first one was easy. This is now a trickier one with the strip. So silver, please.
You got this.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I have a hard drive full of images to prove that's not true. There we go. Well played, sir. Right now, yeah, that's not bad, right? So again, we're able to, this is with the Octa, this is with the strip, right? Two different modifiers, but using the same theory, we can create a completely different look. Well played. Thank you. Cool. Yeah, I like a strip. All right, any questions, thoughts, concerns, anything online? Well, usually the people in the chat have something. Come on, chat people. The store has way better questions. What's it?
Someone asked.
Oh. Okay.
Read all your questions.
All right. Well, no, I like when Seth reads them to me. Could you shoot the light to the background to see the shape? So a softbox, when you're, okay, so if you take a box and you point it at the background, right? You're not going to necessarily see the shape of the box because the light doesn't leave the box like a laser, right? It spreads out. So really, you're only going to know the shape of the light by looking at it. And then you have to kind of think about how it comes out, right? It's not this, it's this, right? And typically a regular softbox is like this. A grid is going to cut it in. And it takes experience and a little practice and a little bit of luck sometimes to get it exactly where you want when you're first starting. After a while, you'll know, like this is like a 40-degree grid, so 40 degrees is like this, so I know how far it goes. Without the grid, it's 120 degrees, that's like this. So that's kind of how you're gonna make a judgment on that. Just pointing at the background, all we'll get is, I mean, I can show you, you're just gonna get light on the background. It's not gonna look like a rectangle or the box, right? It just, that's what it looks like, right? There you go, silhouette. That's my next demo. No, but like that's all you'll get because you're not going to see the shape of the box because it's spreading, right?
Yeah, you'll just see the beam angle
Yeah.
spread of it, but that's what those optical spots are about, is
Right.
focusing a light to be shaped.
Yeah, or like a cookie, right? If I took a piece of foam core and I cut a smiley face in it or whatever, and then I shot my light through it, it might project that smiley face on the wall, depending on how close the thing was or whatever. But a softbox isn't going to do that. It's designed just to spread the light. You're not going to see the true shape of it. The same is true with the reflector, really, even a hard reflector. Shooting full body, teen, okay. Would I use a 7? Well, okay, so you're gonna wanna use, if you're shooting something that's very large, you're going to want, large like an object and you want the light to be even, you're gonna have two options. One is to use a very large source close, or you can use a pretty large source backed up, which will create a harder light. It depends on how much you want them to move. The closer they are to the light, the more their movement will affect it. So somebody standing with a beautiful gown that's large with a nice big softbox, if they're gonna pose like this, is fine. Somebody going like this with it, you're gonna want the light to be further away. When I used to shoot kids, I would use 2 4-foot lights and I'd put them like 12 feet away. So they were the equivalent of like that softbox, really is how hard it was, but they were even, right? So the kid could run all over the place and I could get the shot, because try keeping kids in one space, not easy. See, yes, bad pictures of Marissa do exist. Many of them. Okay. Questions, thoughts, concerns? Anybody else? If you have any questions, if you're watching this in the future, please make a comment below and I'll answer it then.
Also, tell us what the future is like. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I will tell you what the future's like in the future. So on June, the second Thursday in June, I will be back. That'll be fun. Hopefully you'll be back as well. Please do follow Adorama events up in the corner. That'll tell you when stuff's going on. You can follow me. I'm Daniel Norton. This is Marissa Roper.
Yeah.
And Seth is last X-Witness. The X is silent.
I hate you so much.
Please be sure to subscribe to Adorama TV and do all that good stuff. I'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome.